So I got picked for a really fun project that's a collab between two companies. Those companies are We Love Colors and Jacquard. Jacquard I have been using for years. I'm from a small town in like Northern California, and we had one kind of, it was kind of like Michael's, but it's called Ben Franklin's. And they had a massive display. And those have been the fabric paints I have been using since I started cosplaying. Like, oh god, I started cosplaying like 17 plus years ago. I don't recall when the Jacquard paints, they might not have been there the entire time, but the entire time I've needed fabric paint, I've been using them. Like, my earliest, I think, was my Beetlejuice cosplay, which I will add here. That is white paint on black fabric and black paint on white fabric. All of it done with Jacquard paints, and only two of the little like containers worth of just the Neopaque. So I have loved these companies for forever, especially being a Critical Role cosplayer and seeing We Love Colors and then putting in, like, it was already recommended to me as a plus size person for getting very high quality tights as a plus size person. But on top of that, they make sure to match colors and like have an entire chart of matching their tights colors to Maron body paint colors, so it is perfect matches every time. It's been a cosplay dream. And then when they expanded into having not just tights but shirts and leotards and bodysuits and gloves, a dream come true. So when I got picked and they're like, okay, what do you need for your project? And I'm like, I know exactly what I need for my project, and that is what I'm pulling out right now. So let me see here. Okay, so this is just the order slip, which is fun because I didn't pay anything. They did provide these for me. Oh my god, oh my gosh. Okay, so what I got was for Jester Lavorre, because that is predominantly the character I cosplay. And I consulted an entire Discord server to pick what I picked. So the first thing I picked, gloves, because they do have like a shirt. It's under their gloves because essentially is gloves that is also a shirt. So I did think about doing that, but all my friends were like, think about going to the bathroom. And I said, that's an excellent point. So I opted for the shorter gloves. These are the short seamless gloves. I did get them in because they have two sizes, a small medium and a large extra large. I have very broad hands, but also very short fingers, so we'll see how well this works out. Haha, I think it will work out well. So it's a little long my pinky, but I am able to like kind of zhuzh it. So, oh my god, I'm so excited. I have yet to decide. I most likely will to like hide, because they do have seams at the very tips of the fingers, which makes perfect sense. You can't, even though they're like seamless throughout the rest of the gloves, the seams are inevitable. So I probably will do the like fingernails on top of these. I'm probably gonna beg a friend who has made an insane amount of these for their recommendations on how to do this, because if left to my own devices, I would probably end up super gluing the glove to my finger by accident. So that is the first thing I got. And then the other thing that I got, oh my god, it's so soft. So this is a slightly different texture, which is just fine for me, but it is the like leotard that's a long sleeve turtleneck, and it's more of a like, it feels like a swimsuit, to be honest. And it does have a snap crotch, because once again, going to the bathroom at con is very important. Pardon the bell, that is my cat. Well, one of two cats. This one just desires to live in my skin, so she's kind of constantly with me. But I'm excited. So the plan is to because like I want this for my Pink Pirate Jester cosplay. So the plan is that my friend, who also happens to be a tattoo artist, is going to do Jester's tattoos, which are like kind of hands clasping on her chest, and it kind of just expands over her shoulders and everything. And then I love the depictions of Jester with freckles, and I naturally have freckles all across like my shoulders and everything, so I kind of want to replicate that. So this is half of what I need. The other half, I don't know when I'll be getting the paints, but once they arrive, I have 1 month to do this. So my friend is already on board, which is literally waiting on the paints to set a weekend to get this done. As a reward, here's Beanie Baby. She is the gremlin that desires to live in my skin with me. So I'll continue. Next clip is probably just going to be more stuff. Hopefully paint. As far as the paints, we're starting with the Jacquard Neopaque in blue, which is what I thought might work best for some freckles across the shoulders. Now for the paints for the tattoos for Jester, we have more Jacquard, of course, is the Lumiere in Super Sparkle, as well as the Lumiere in Pearlescent White. And they do kind of, these two kind of look very similar. And I'm hoping that they look different. I was hoping one would be slightly more kind of like silvery, but you know what? We will make do, and I think it still will turn out beautiful. So before I go to get this bodysuit painted by my friend, I do want to make at least one modification. I'll be making a second modification at a later time, but for now, I have a very short neck, and unfortunately this just gets crumpled. So I'm actually going to take off the top part. I'm going to take off this collar and just let it naturally, because this will naturally rest right at the base of my neck. So I don't think it would be too hard for it to be kind of look invisible or be covered easily by a necklace. So let me go ahead and seam rip that off. Seam ripping this should be, I think, relatively easy because it's just a seam on the inside. So what I'm going to do is just kind of undo all of this kind of overcast stitching by going underneath and just letting my seam rip kind of glide underneath and cut. But I am trying to make sure I don't snap the fabric that's underneath because I don't want to have to cut it down. But sorry, it's hard to do for a camera, but it's a lot easier if I am just doing it in my own time. So once I have all these kind of torn off, I can go back and just get under this, and it should be easy enough to pull apart. Any other seams? Let's see. Does this have any tension to it? Okay, so then it'll be easy enough to just pull apart, and then I can take that off. And then I'll save this scrap. I might put some of this in my Bilbo coat, just because I think that would be funny. For reference, I am making a coat like Bilbo Baggins' house coat from The Hobbit out of scraps of both my cosplay as well as cosplays and projects of my friends and even some of the like content creators and artists that I follow who have been kind enough to donate. So that is an upcoming project I'm working on. But for now, we'll get back to this. So this is what we look like after, and something I might do, I want to try it on first and see. This is literally just the edge. Oh my gosh, there we go. Just the edge since like just taking it off. So this was part of the seam allowance of the collar, and I might cut along the what looks like a perforated edge from the stitching, but I'm going to give the fabric time to relax, and if it's not noticeable at like a arm distance away, I'm really not going to worry about it. But I am happy with that, and I am happy to not choke. And honestly, this might just end up becoming like a headband because as a joke I put it on as a headband and it worked very well. So yay for upcycling that. The only other modification I really need to do like for this bodysuit in general is I actually need to both take in the sleeves and hem them, because as it stands, the sleeves extend past my fingertips because I have relatively short arms. So that is something I will do, but I might wait until after the body painting. Luckily, in addition to this, as I showed earlier, I did get matching gloves. So I'm just going to try and smooth out that transition by not having a bunch of fabric kind of like bunching. But again, it is nice that these are very nicely hemmed. But I'm concerned about that creating bulk, so don't be surprised if mine is left unhemmed, especially because I don't have like a fancy twin needle like this that creates this like very professional stitch. So yeah, that is my plan. Okay, I've just gotten gas, I have my treat for the road, and I'm about to drive 3 hours to Phoenix to see my friend Shino, who is also a tattoo artist, who agreed to do the painting of Jester's tattoo. So I'm very excited for that. This friend I have known for many years. Love him, and he, like I said, is a tattoo artist in Phoenix at Jade Monkey Tattoo. I have both gotten tattoos from both him and during his apprenticeship his mentor Levi, so if you're in the Phoenix area, check them out. But I'm very excited, and for this road trip it's about 3 hours there and 3 hours back, and that is 2/3 of the audiobook version of Test Glove, so that is what I'll be listening to in case you're curious. When it came time to have Jester's design onto the bodysuit, Shino was originally planning to use a projector to project a design that he would sketch up. Unfortunately, the projector was not working, so Shino opted to do a fully freehand design of Jester's tattoo, which we had a lot of creative liberty with, because in Critical Role, there's not very many visual depictions of it, like nothing fully head-on or anything, just hinted at in later designs for her character. And at most, we get a description of diamond tattoo on the upper chest and the shoulders in the shape of clasped hands. So we did take a little kind of liberty with the clasped hands portion and did a more cupped hands so that we could add a diamond motif that we'd seen in some fan art that we really liked, and opted for very henna-inspired designs, which again was all freehand, and to me it turned out so lovely, and Shino and I could not wait for me to be able to wash off the charcoal and the pencil sketching so that we could see it in its truest form. But every step along the way we were so excited. In total, Shino was painting on me for a total of 7 hours to get this design done, as well as doing all the freckles that are across the shoulders and upper back, doing a mix of both just light sprays and going in and doing darker, more deeper freckles and spots that very much matches my personal complexion, and I absolutely adore it and I love it. And it was so fun to be able to see these clips and see the design kind of come together and have it be something that was entirely like a collaboration of me and Shino, and how we've been friends for a very long time, and I'm so thankful that he was willing to do this with me. And here I realized in my stash I had some of the Lumiere pink, like I think it's magenta actually, and we mixed it a little bit with one of the other colors to revive it because it was several years old, and I live in Arizona, that got super heated and was thickened up, but it revived beautifully, and we were able to add a few pink accents that felt very true to Jester, who has a lot of pink in various designs, and it's just a very pink personality. So here we have that final spin that shows the completed design before I washed off all those pencil marks. We're waiting for the next 24 hours for the paint on the bodysuit to kind of fully cure before I heat set it. So we're gonna work on the gloves. And luckily, I happened to find at Dollar Tree fake nails in like the perfect shade of blue. It's kind of like a tealy blue. It's not really reading the same here as it is in person. But these happen to match my lipstick for Jester, so we're going to temporarily attach these because a friend at SabotinCon will be gifting me some beautiful nails that will be permanently attached to these gloves, and I cannot wait. But first, we're going to find which ones fit my nails best and then change the shape of them because these are very pointy, almondy shape, and that does not work for me. So I've already got my thumbs done. Now I'm doing the rest of my nails. I bought 2 sets because I know I have very large nail beds. and I'm fully aware of that. So I knew I would have to mix and match sizes. So I'll be using all of these, which are the same size. So once I have a fingernail that is the correct length, I'm just going to stack the other one, make sure the bottom is flush, and then go in with my just nail clippers and trim it down to match. Oh my gosh, sorry, my grit. There we go. Which does leave me with a bit of a point, so I can just, with a nail file, just round out and perfect the shape. I am going for a more kind of rounded shape because that is what looks better for me personally on my hands. Even though I will be wearing gloves, I still would like them to at least match my natural fingers and like how they extend so it doesn't look weird, if that makes sense. Now that I have all of my little fingertips all cut to length that I need them to, I'm going to scuff the insides of the nails to help them adhere better, and I'm also going to put on the glove that they are going on. I recommend a flexible kind of glue, so I would, for the permanent version, I'm going to use E6000 for this. Please remember to be in a well-ventilated area away from pets. Wear protection, especially whether you're using this super glue, no matter what. Please wear a disposable glove underneath your glove so that you don't run the risk of harming yourself. And then I like to make sure that all the seams on the fingertips are kind of squared out even, that they're not twisted anyway, so that I can guarantee that they'll lay, like the nails will lay how I want them to on the gloves themselves. And after gluing, they should look something like this. I'm very excited, and they do make very satisfying tapping noises. Now it has been a little over 24 hours because according to the directions on the Jacquard paints, which is the same for both the Lumiere as it is for the Neopaque, of wait 24 hours, let it air dry for 24 hours, and then you can heat set it with heat appropriate to the fabric. So not the paint, the fabric. So right now I have my kind of leotard stretched over. This is like a memory foam pillow because I don't have a dress form. So I'm going to use this scrap piece of cotton to just kind of protect the design from my iron. And we're just gonna slowly go over it. And just let it heat set. You can also, technically, what I've done in the past is I have gone through and for things that weren't easy to iron, like I would like use this on fake leather boots, like this paint specifically over fake leather boots. I've chucked them in the dryer, to be honest, on like medium high heat as a way to kind of like heat seal them. But I did kind of mess up that process. Part of it was an issue with the boots themselves, but I will insert a clip that is like probably the only clip I have of those boots with my level 13 Jester in her lovely winter outfit. So I'm just checking on it occasionally. And then once this is done, I'll actually be able to wash this and not have to worry about the paint running. Because what's nice is that if you make a mistake, like there was a couple points where like a glob of paint ended up landing somewhere it shouldn't have, so we were able to just take some water on a rag and like wipe it right off essentially. So this paint can be very forgiving, which is nice. And since I have this on a pillow, I can just readjust as I need so that I can work all the way around, including onto the shoulder, which is very hard to show. And then here we have all of our freckles. I'm so excited. This was something that was very important to me, was having just a spray of freckles across the shoulders and the upper back, because that's something I personally have. And I always try to like add a little bit of something that's just me into my costumes, because who's gonna like know better? And like I don't want to disappear behind a character for the most part. I want to be kind of fused with the character, if that makes sense. And I didn't need to go all the way down the back because my costume will cover it. And here we have the finished look. I love how it turned out. I'm so happy with it, and I'm so thankful for this opportunity, and here it is in the brightest of sunlights of Arizona sun. Thanks for watching.